Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to teach you 3 things that wealthy people do that other people do not. Let's dive in. And today, what we're going to be talking about is what rich people do differently. And this isn't going to be the type of episode where I talk to you from like a plane or with my Lamborghini behind me and I talk about how rich and successful and how awesome I am or any of those types of things. It's more of like I want to talk to you about the overall mindset that I think turns into helping people be wealthy later on down the road. And just kind of the way that they live their lives, the way that they run their businesses. And I'm going to talk to you about some things that I don't really hear people talking about. You know, like some people are like, you got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like that's not what this episode is about. It's more of their mindset of life, their mindset of running business, and all of that long term, if you do something long enough, can eventually turn into wealth. And so this one's not going to be the same as other stuff that's out there. And you know, like for me, I've been blessed with in my life with what people would call some wealth. And I also have some amazing friends that have amassed massive amounts of wealth. And I know other people who have, and I've just kind of seen what the difference is between the average, very wealthy person and just the average person that's out there. And none of them is right. None of it is wrong. I just want to kind of give you a behind the scenes. Okay. The first thing, which I think is probably the most important thing, is that almost every one of the extremely successful people that I've met, that I've met and I've seen them do things in the world, they do something that lights them up. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you must struggle your way to success. I thought for a long time, if I wanted to be successful, I need to struggle. I need to work 100 to 110 hours a week, and it's got to be hard, and it's got to be a grind, and it's got to be hustle culture and all this stuff. I don't think now that I've seen it that anything can be further from the truth. Is being a business owner or an entrepreneur hard? Yes. But for people who are like truly into it and doing something that they love, it ends up being a lot more fun for them. And so they do something, they kind of pick a lane that lights them up. They pick a lane and decide to do something that is fun for them. And one of the keys that I've heard is to find something that looks like work to everybody else, but feels like play to you. One of the most common things when I look at the most wealthy people that I know is that they're all doing something that they love, or there's aspects of what they do that they absolutely love. And they love it so much that it's almost like they want to go out and do it. Like the most successful person I know, he's worth like just over $4 billion. And I know him through a friend. And this guy is not addicted to work, but it is just a hobby. It's like a hobby of his. And when you talk to him about it, he's like, yeah, he does. I do know he wakes up at 4:30 in the morning and he does his workout. His trainer comes over to his house. He does his workout. He gets his coffee. And then usually by like 5:30, he's working. And it's just because it's what he wants to do. And it's something that he's truly passionate about and he believes in. And so that's why, you know, I see a lot of people are like, well, when someone gets to be worth $10 million or $1 billion, they've already won the game. Why don't they just stop when they get wealthy? And the reason why is because what I have found is for most of them, it was never about the money in the first place. It was about they found something that interested them. They found something that was fun for them. They found something that they wanted to get better at. It felt like a game to them. And the money was just a byproduct of putting in a lot of work. And there's the corny phrase, but it is a really true cliche, which is if you find something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's something that they have found that gives them energy. And the reason why that's important is because we all know that in order to be successful, whatever success means to you, it's going to require a lot of hard work. It's going to require a lot of hours in the long term, no matter what. Whether you hate it or whether you love it, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And with hard work, you can do hard work and you can hate every day of your life and you can hate what you do and you can force yourself and just white knuckle your way to success and you can still become worth millions of dollars if you want to. Or you could just find something that you love and it doesn't feel like work to you. I was watching, and this is what's so crazy about it. I was showing this to my wife the other day. There's a guy that I have found on YouTube. And some of you guys are like, yeah, but what I'm interested in this weird, obscure thing. How do I possibly make money doing it? And it's not about focusing on the money first. It's about focusing on what it is that you love. There's a guy And he's on YouTube, and I can't remember his name on YouTube, but he has created a 1,000-gallon terrarium, and he has created a mini rainforest in his house. And he finds bugs outside, and he puts them inside of the terrarium, and he finds ants, and he got this big spider and had these two spiders mate, and he creates this. It's so wild, guys. He creates this very cinematic story about his terrarium and the, putting this spider in, and this spider attacking the whatever it was like a roach or something like that. And it's actually, if I'm being honest with you, done extremely well. But this guy has 6 million subscribers on YouTube, and every single video that he makes gets over 1 to 2 million views, which means that every video he makes, he's making at least $5,000 to $10,000. What the fuck? Like that's one of the most obscure things. I never, if you were to say, hey, could somebody be interested in making a rainforest, 1,000-gallon terrarium in their house? Could they be successful and make millions of dollars? I'd be like, I don't think so. But this guy creates this video or these videos and puts them up, and they're done really, really well. He is, and you can sense his passion. He is so passionate about it. And there just happen to be other people in the world that are passionate about this thing. And so then he has a course on showing hey, here's how I created my terrarium. And I'm sure he makes a bunch of money doing that. And so it goes back to this phrase, do something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. This guy loves his terrarium and loves his rainforest that he has created. And it just feels like what it is that he wants to do. And he does it and makes a ton of money doing it. He might not be a billionaire, but I'm sure he's surpassed over $1 million he's made from his terrarium. Hey, real quick, I want to introduce you to something called Mindset Mentor Plus. If you love this podcast, you will absolutely love what I'm about to talk about. I designed Mindset Mentor Plus to help you actively integrate every one of these episodes into your life. And here's how it works. With every episode of this podcast that comes out, Mindset Mentor Plus subscribers get more. You're going to get multiple page, detailed, printable worksheets, effectively a mini masterclass that's way more in depth than just this podcast. They also come with journaling questions, challenges, assignments, and so much more, so that you're not just listening to these podcasts passively, but you're actively integrating them into your life. That way you improve much faster. I also do monthly Q&A sessions in there and much, much more. If you want to learn more about it, go to mindsetmentor.com or click the link that's down in the description. When I look at what I do, I love what I do. I love what I do so much. There's nothing more in this world that I would rather do. If I was worth $10 billion and I never had to work a day in my life, I would still do this thing. I would still research people. I would research the brain, early childhood development, and I would put stuff out there through podcasting, through Instagram, through Facebook, through all of this to try to help people because I just love what I do. And when you just love what you do, you'll work hard and it won't seem like work. And hard work is a prerequisite for success. And so I'm saying this because I think it's very important. I really want to get this into your head. If you hate what you're doing, or if you're doing something just for money, if it doesn't light you up, you're in the wrong line of work. If a guy can make millions of dollars off a 1,000-gallon terrarium and putting up cinematic videos about roaches, spiders, and ants, I'm sure you can figure out a way to do something that you're passionate about and make money doing it. So I just had to bring that in because I thought it was just so interesting that this guy created this. And I was looking at how many views he had, and I was doing the math based off of, I know, okay, on average, when someone does 1 million views, this is how much they make. I'm going, this guy's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by making these videos. And then he's got a course on the back end, and I have no idea how much he's making off of teaching other people to make these terrariums. So I just want to bring that in there for you to understand. Find something that you love because it will make working a lot easier. Okay, that's the first thing, is I found that they love what they do. The second thing that I have found is that many of them, the majority of them, focus on solving problems in the world. Wealthy people are almost always entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs take somebody else's problem and make it their own. So a successful person is somebody who solves other people's problems, or they have identified a problem with what they do, like with something that they've come in contact with in their life, and they've created a product or a business to solve that problem. So for us, like we just had a baby recently, and there are tons of baby products, and some of them you see were created by a mom that had this problem that nobody else in the marketplace had solved, and they went, I'm going to solve this problem myself. And then they solve the problem with a product, and that product, if it's really good, ends up doing really well. So they notice a hole in the market and they fill it. They take problems in the world and they solve them. They notice a need and then they help people with that need. Now, when you look at, for instance, the news and the way that news and politicians talk about successful people a lot of times, it's like, oh, that person has to screw other people over and successful people are bad. No, I found that most people that are successful people are going, how can I solve problems in the world? How can I make everyone else's life easier around this thing? And they invent new things or they improve current things to solve people's problems, to make people's lives easier. So a lot of times they solve problems that they didn't even know that they had. And so like, for instance, if you look at like the invention of the car, they were looking at probably in the invention of the car, they were going, well, we have horses and horses do decent, but they're really slow and they can't go all the time. So maybe we could make something that could go faster. So then they invent a car so that they can move people. All right. That is the improvement based off of the way people moved around a lot with horse and buggy. Well, then eventually somebody was like, okay, cars are cool, but we could probably move people faster. How can we move people faster? Well, then the invention of the plane came and it moved people faster. And so when you start to think about that, what is a problem that you could solve in the world? Is there something out there? Is there a product that you could create? That's why I love Shark Tank, is because people have a problem that they've seen in the world and they create a product to solve that problem, and then they can become super successful from it. So like, what problem do you want to help other people solve? What problem do you have in your life where you could create a product or a business to help other people who have that same problem that you do? Because if you have a problem, other people have that problem. Start looking around your life in your day to start seeing if you can solve problems. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is that they usually do something which kind of ties to the second one, but not necessarily 100%. They're usually doing something to try to help other people out. And this might not sound true to you based off of what we hear in the news and the way some people are raised as, money's the root of all evil and you've got to screw people over to make money. And, actions to make money a lot of times are demonized and we need to tax these people who make more money because they're bad. But are there people that do bad things for money? Sure. But most people, what I have found when I go out into the world and I'm not watching the news and I'm not looking on Instagram and I'm not on Twitter or not seeing what other people are saying about other people, when I go out and I meet people face to face, most people are really good people. So are there people screwing people over? Of course there are. Is that everybody? No, it's like a very teeny tiny amount. And here's why doing something for other people is important. When you decide that you want to start doing something to try to help other people in the world, doing something for money alone, it gets old eventually. Doing something for yourself eventually gets old as well. Doing something for other people never gets old. I've always wondered it, and I can usually find with enough, questions of myself, like I can usually find like, why are people this way? People are this way because of this, and I can usually find, it's like a puzzle piece, I can put it together. One puzzle I have not been able to solve, but I know is 100% true, is that people love to help other people. And you feel good when you help other people. I don't know why that is. I've tried to figure it out, and I guess it's just inherently built into the human circuitry. But doing something for other people never gets old. It never gets old. And so you will get energy when your goal is tied to helping other people. I have a friend who's he still is a business owner, but he was a business owner about 5 years ago, and his business was doing pretty well. And they had a supplement company, and he made a bunch of money, became a multimillionaire, and his business partner became a multimillionaire. And the two of them were incredibly successful, and eventually got to a point where they're like, this isn't really fun for us anymore. Like we've kind of feel like we've hit the top of the mountain. And they got to like $10 million a year. And then they said that after a few years, like, we've kind of done all we want to do. Like, should we sell the business? Should we shut the business down? They had this idea of like, what if we tied the success of the business to being able to help other people? And so they had this supplement company. They were selling supplements, and sure, that was helping people. But one of the things they found that they were most passionate about, the two of them together, was the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so they said, okay, we're going to take a percentage of the company's profit and we're going to donate it directly to Make-A-Wish Foundation. And they started doing that. And they started finding themselves work harder because they wanted to grant more wishes. And then they said, you know what? What if we give the opportunity for people who buy our supplements online to donate on the checkout page? And so they gave people an option. You can donate $1, $5, or $10 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And from that, they were able to donate hundreds and create literally hundreds of wishes for these children who have terminal illnesses and are going through all this stuff. And it made them work harder because they attached their business that they already had to this Make-A-Wish Foundation, this thing that was tied to helping other people. And then they're like, 10 years down the road, they're like, we're going to sell this company. They went from doing like $10 million a year to eventually exiting the company for over $200 million in cash. Both of them got over $100 million into their bank account at the exit of the company. So I say that because it's like, yeah, did they benefit from it? 100%. But part of what they built the company with was like, making money isn't just what we want to do anymore. It's not just fun for us. So how can we use our business to help other people? Is there a charity that you want to do? Is there some way that you want to give back? And so a lot of people say, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, hustle, 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 do whatever it is. But these three things are what I have found are kind of like the underlying mindset and thought process behind people and what, just the overall way that they live their life that it just in turn helps them become successful. Is number one, all of them do something that really lights them up in some sort of way. Number two, they solve problems in the world. And number three, they usually try to do something to help other people. So if you can try to figure out what you can do that you would enjoy, that would help other people, and that would solve the world's problem, there's a pretty good chance you could build a really successful business from it. So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please share it on your Instagram stories. Tag me at Rob Dial Jr., ROBDIALJR. The only way this podcast grows is from you guys sharing it. And so if you've ever gotten any value from anything that I've said before in the past, please do me a favor and just share this podcast out there so we can continue to impact more people's lives, because ultimately, that's all I really want to do. So with that, I'm going to leave the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make somebody else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.